right, YouTube. I've got a friend here. That's right.
Did I sing a song? Yeah.
Luke Furr from Friend Electric Bikes, and a company out of Massachusetts. They make a folding fat tire full suspension e-bike, and we'll talk to him about the company and how it got started. So, Luke, good to see you today.
Hey, good to see you, and thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Yeah,
This
no
is
problem.
fun.
When are you going to get James Taylor to come on and sing? You've got a friend.
I've got a guitar right here. I mean,
you should be your spokesperson for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this again, and tell us how you started Friend, when you started it, and give us some background there.
Sure. We started it closing in on about 2 years ago now. I had bought a few bikes, probably 2.5, 3 years ago now, from across the pond, let's say. I won't say who they were from, but one of the bikes had a problem day one. The battery died. I couldn't get a hold of anyone. They wouldn't return calls. They wouldn't return emails. It was awful. And I have owned a business for 35 years, a pretty large distribution company. And I said, you know what? This is a phenomenal adventure for people. It's not like riding a bike anymore. It's really, it's different. You're going places you've never gone on your regular bike. And,
faster, further, farther.
Yeah, no question. And funner. We'll use that word.
Funner too.
I have a friend who uses that word all the time, and I'm like, it's not really a word, but
it is now.
It is now. And so I said, you know what, if someone did this well and, took care of the client when there was a problem and had a bike that made sense and, had the biggest, the best and the most ergonomically advanced kind of bike, then, they would do well. And I'm not looking to be the next Schwinn. I'm not looking to be as big as electric. I'm just looking to provide some great bikes at a very good, affordable price and have fun doing it. Right. So that's kind of what I did. And I had a whole bunch of prototypes put together, and I had, all the things that I wanted in the bike. I wanted 750 watts because that's the biggest motor you can have and still be legal. I wanted front and rear suspension because I've ridden some of the bikes, and some of those bikes that are very inexpensive out there for $999 don't have suspension. And if you go off a curb, I'm telling you, you'll tweak a wrist. I've done it, and it's until someone buys those bikes, gets on them and realizes that they don't know what suspension brings to the table. Brings a lot.
Yeah, I have to have suspension on my bikes. I mean, I rode the electric 1.0. Bike. And, after a ride,
I wasn't going to mention a name, but that was it.
My forearms would hurt. They get sore because you're taking that jolt of those bumps.
You don't want to buy a bike without suspension. I mean, right. Front and rear. And they try to also get one of those suspension seats. That doesn't work when you're out riding on a trail or something like that. Or if you're a bigger person, that's just, anyway, that's my 2 cents, anyway. Yeah. So, that I wanted it foldable too, so I could stick it in my car or quite honestly on my boat. And spokes meant a lot to me because the spokes, on these big fat tires, when you have that many spokes, you have to true them up all the time. And if you don't do that, you're going to wear the tire out differently, or it's going to cause some problems with brakes, etc. So I'm like, okay, let's get rid of that as well. And I wanted it to look cool, and I think it does.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty unique design overall. I've got the bikes here on the site on the screen here for you. Let me ask you, Luke, the rims, the mag wheel rims. Those are a little bit heavier though than a typical wheel with spokes.
They are, yeah. And the bike, all these bikes in this range, they're heavy anyway, and I hate saying it, but
Your bikes are what, 70 something pounds, I think?
Yeah, 77 pounds, okay. With the battery. So, you can take the battery out, which is about 10 pounds, but right. No, they're heavy, and you gotta know that going into it. So, if you want,
frame,
this frame also, the Friend bike frame is probably an inch wider than the electric.
Yeah.
or the hay bike or any of those other guys that, that have that slender frame. When you look at the front and you look down on it, it's an inch wider. It's, and it's soldering joints and things like that. It is a brick, you can beat me out here, but it is a very serious made bike.
Yeah. How did you, so how do you actually start an e-bike company, Luke? What do you have to do first? Give me some of the steps there as far as how you kind of actually built this out.
Yeah, so keep in mind, I'm a distributor for, a lot of companies. Sony was my main line for the entire country. If you wanted to buy Sony, you had to buy it from me on the pro side. I just sold the company 6 months ago, but for 35 years, I had a distribution company, and I had, not just Sony, but lots of Japanese and Chinese lines. So I knew a lot of people there. And I literally set a whole bunch of them questions going, okay, who is the best manufacturer over there? How can I get involved in this? And I finally, after going through a fair amount of them, I finally ended up with one that I really liked the way they dealt with me. I liked the fact that they were going to service, they were going to warranty it for 2 years. They were very responsive. And hey, I'm all about sense of urgency and responsiveness. And, if the customer calls you, you need to call them right back. You need to get right on it. And, we store all the parts in the country for the bike, 20 ways to sundown. And so my goal was to make not only a bike that I really liked, but to, have all the parts and stuff. So once I found the manufacturer, the process then is you give them what you want, you kind of design it with them, and then you basically have them send you bikes, and they keep sending prototypes until you say, okay, this one I like. Let's go with this one.
Okay.
And we just designed a step through, which is all done. It's in production, not even in production. It's on its way to us now in a container. So we're already ready to ship those soon.
Yeah. When is that going to start? You have a step coming.
You'll start seeing pictures on that in the next 30 days,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But it takes a year to get a bike, in my opinion, to do it the right way, to get it off the ground.
Yeah. Speaking of shipping, what's that like right now as far as the ports go? And has it gotten better in the last couple of months, or is it gotten worse?
And I don't see how some of these companies are doing it. I mean, when I first started, a container with a 40-foot container, which holds 135 bikes,
okay,
was costing me $8,000 to get it from China to our warehouse in Foxboro, Mass. $8,000. My last shipment was $32,000. Oh yeah. So we obviously had to raise our price. We were trying to, compete with electric on price, etc. But, I've got too much in this bike compared to electric, and it's just not the same bike. You're going to have to spend $200, $300 more on my bike, but well worth it because it's a bigger motor. It's a well-known motor. I don't even know what electric and ebike and those guys are. They're unknown brands.
Yep.
And, a full suspension. So, you're going to spend a little bit more, but well worth it in my opinion. But those freight costs they killed me.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough out there right now.
What does that add per bike to your shipping?
Had to. Yeah. So it's tough right now as far as shipping costs.
Yeah. What about the shipping times though? Have the times gotten shorter? Or the ports
the times are okay now. I think the times are better. What was going on is there were no containers, number one, over in China, because we would bring in all these containers to the country, the US, and people would buy them to live in them. Or we weren't shipping goods back as much as they were shipping here. So there were no containers. There was the shipping logistics issue that was creating a logjam in all the ports. And what was going on is the people that did have containers in China were having to be bribed from all these manufacturers in order to get their shipments out. So whoever paid the most got a container and got shipped. And that's why $32,000 happened.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you think prices will go down this year or shipping?
I think they will. I think they'll go down, but they're not going to go back to the $8,000. They're going to end up
Yeah.
at around 15 to 20 because they realize they can get a little bit more money now. They're
Yeah.
not going to go back to where they were. No way.
Yeah. Crazy. We're all going to pay more. That's for sure.
Oh, no question. Not just on bikes, it's everything.
Yeah. Everything. Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your operations in Foxboro there. What do you have there? How do you use it? How many people do you have? Things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a warehouse, obviously, since I owned a company, so that's pretty easy. We have a full not consignment, a full warehouse basically of parts. So all the bike parts, everything from the, to extra wheels, to extra motors, to controllers, to cables, to assemblies, to you name it, everything on that bike we have. We have a technician, John Forrest, who is phenomenal, answers his phone, answers every email. He's really very good. And, and then you've got some sales and inside support, and then me and Carly, who really kind of run the website. And
Your daughter, who's your co-founder. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the video on my site, but,
Yeah.
I said, hey, I need some help here. What do you think? She goes, I got to work with you, Dad. I'm like, yeah. So, it's a lot of fun now. We're loving it. So it's fun.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I'd like to come up there one day and check out the operation. And,
Oh, sure. Love to have you.
talk to your technician there and
Yeah.
his thoughts on parts.
Have you talked to him yet? You have
No, I
talked to him? Oh, okay.
But
Yeah, he's a good guy.
nice. Yeah. I definitely want to see that step there too. So I'd love to review that when you get it.
Yeah, sure. At some point, once I get back up there, or I can have him bring one down at some point. But I know, I respect what you're doing with your channel and with your website. And there are a lot of guys trying to do what you're doing, and I don't think they're doing it quite as well, to be honest with you. So congrats on that.
Appreciate that, Luke.
Sure.
Do you hear the familiar phrase, hey, cheater, a lot with the e-bike?
Yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah, I don't really care. That's, I'm having a lot more fun than they are.
Exactly right. Faster, farther, funner.
Oh yeah, funner. There's that word.
Yep. So your bikes you have two versions, right? Just kind of break down the version and the pricing and for us as well.
Yeah. So we have a 1.0 and a 1.5. The 1.0 has 10 amps battery, and the 1.5 has a 17.5 amp. And if you buy the 1.5, you get both batteries because the bikes ship with the battery in it, the 10 amp battery. So when you buy a 1.5, you get both batteries, and a 17.5 battery will last you, realistically, probably 50 to 70 miles. And a 10 amp, I think, is more like 25 to 40, and that's pedal assisted and going. Yeah. So, you just got to, think about what you're going to do and how long you need it. And, I tell a lot of people, you probably don't need the big battery. I don't know how far you're going, but 25 to 40 miles is a long way. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Do you ride every day?
I do. It's funny. I get up in the morning and I live about 4 miles from the beach. So I get up, I ride to the beach, and then I ride about 5-10 miles one way. And, you obviously know how easy it is. And then I come back. So that's a good 25 miles. And I'm still at, 4 bars. So the batteries are doing well. I try to say realistically what I think they'll do, but a lot of people are getting a lot more than what I'm saying. So
are your batteries Panasonic or Samsung, or what brand are they?
They are Samsung on the larger battery, and on the smaller batteries, it's a Chinese cell.
Chinese cell, okay. What should we know about batteries to make them last longer? Any tips?
No, you know what? I mean, I try to run them down, maybe I'm old school. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there's memories in there. I don't think there are, but, again, I'm old school. So I run it all the way down and then charge it all the way back. I don't leave it on a trickle charge. Once it's charged, I unplug it. And if I have to store the battery, I don't store it on the ground. I store it up, on a block or something, So, I mean, they're pretty durable. These things, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen them, outside. They're very heavy duty. And another thing I like about our frame is the battery's not exposed. Some of these other bikes, the batteries are all exposed, and our IP rating, I don't know if you know what, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
IP ratings go from, I don't know what they go from, but I know their highest is 68, IP 68, which means it's close to waterproof. Ours is rated IP 68. And, we even have rubber plugs that go in where the connector goes, so that when you're riding, there's no way any water can get in towards that battery or towards the controller. So, I've had a lot of guys who, and you can see some reviews online that guys riding in rainstorms and going, wow, this one's okay.
Yeah, you guys have a Facebook group on the site, right? For Friend. What's
Yeah,
the what's the coolest mod you've ever seen on a Friend electric bike?
there's a guy that has a 3D printer somewhere in LA. I can't think of what his name is, but he has built so many things that attach to the bike, from bars going across with mirrors and extra lights, and racks that he's designed for the back and the sides. I mean, it's pretty incredible what you can do with some of those 3D printers.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
well, Luke, we appreciate your time today. It's friendbikes.com if you want to get one. And certainly appreciate the time, Luke, and look forward to seeing that step through too. So,
hey, I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you very much, and keep up the good work.
all right, thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay, buddy.